Now, in the United States, charter schools provide an alternative for parents here who are not satisfied with public education. Charter schools are run typically by what are called charter management organizations, or non-for-profit organizations. If they're for-profit, they're called education management organizations. The biggest in the United States, at least acknowledged as such, KIPP Schools, Knowledge is Power program, has 99 schools in 20 states. And Imagine Schools has 73 schools. Now, most charter management organizations are not that nationally expansive. Most are state-defined or small, regionally defined. That said, the Cosmos Foundation and Harmony Schools right here in Texas, with 33 schools here in Texas, and then one in Tennessee, as far as I know. Magnolia Schools and Willow Education in California. Concept Schools that has schools in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. Daisy Education in Arizona, and this only names a few. What links these smaller competitors to KIPP and Imagine is that their administrators, many of their teachers, as well as, more often than not, their architects, their educational material suppliers, or at least some of them, are all affiliated with Fetullah Gulen. Thus, organizationally autonomous, yes, they are, but linked by ideational networks, linked by social networks, linked by client relationships, linked by a sense of how we are to do what we are to do. Now, I visited today a Harmony School. The superintendent of Harmony Schools told me something that I've read in media that he has said elsewhere, that there is no connection to this school and to Harmony Schools in general to the Gulen movement. Now, that's something that superintendents and administrators and principals at charter schools around the country are saying in a near verbatim way. There is no institutional affiliation between these schools and Fetullah Gulen or with the Gulen movement. Now, there are a number of criticisms that are coming out, administrative denials of affiliation being one of them. There's a suspect practice of sponsoring H-1B foreign visas for Turkish and Turkic teachers to come from Turkey or Central Asia to teach at the schools at the expense of out-of-work American teachers, which has some people, specifically teachers, alarmed. I became aware of all this not by looking for it. In the spring of 2009, I received contact from a self-identified concerned parent in the United States. I was a father of a teenage woman who she had been at a charter school in a U.S. state for 2 years. And this dad was a natural scientist, he said, and he was very pleased with the math and science education that his daughter was receiving. In the fall of 2009, he said that he participated in a school board meeting for the first time. And he noticed at that meeting that 100% of the administrators were Turkish males. 100% of the board members were Turkish males. He said, quote, "Eventually, I began to feel concerned. What began to concern me was their reaction to any sort of questioning or disagreement with school policies, the degree to which they simply could not tolerate it, and the manipulative and forceful manner in which they responded struck me as distinctly abnormal. Formerly a staunch supporter of the school, I began to suspect that something just wasn't right." When we concluded our discussion, he wanted to know more than anything else, why did the principal at his daughter's school deny affiliation of the Gulen movement when, according to this man, it was very, very clear. So after this concluded, it was about a week and a half later, very curious thing happened. I got another email from another parent in another U.S. state. This person said that, quote, they were representing a group of concerned parents that included 9 families. This happened over the course of about 7 months, and by May 2010, I received over a dozen communications from self-identified concerned parents from 5 different U.S. cities. At the same time, I received a number of emails from local and national media wanting to know about these Turkish charter schools all over the country, as well as from labor union organizers who wanted to talk about allegations of gender discrimination, of suspect hiring practices, and of the foreign H-1B visas, and what I could talk to them about. Now, on the internet, then, there is this relatively loud backlash that's happening by self-proclaimed watchdogs, many of which are teachers, former parents in Arizona, Utah, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Texas, and elsewhere. There are a very high number of foreign worker visa applications applied for by all of these charter schools. Harmony Schools, for instance, in in Houston, Harmony Schools and Cosmos Foundation together applied for more foreign worker visas than any other educational group in the United States. This includes any county or public school or private school. Now, on the list of top 25, 9 more Gulen-inspired schools or charter schools were bringing in large numbers, or at least applying to bring in large numbers of Turks. Now, it's very interesting then when principals are denying affiliation, because most recently when talking about these charter schools, there was a USA Today article on the charter schools by Greg Topo a few months ago. And he sent a list of questions to Fetullah Gulen in Pennsylvania, specifically asking about his leadership in the movement. Gulen said as follows, quote, "It is well known that I have no relation with any institution in the form of ownership, board membership, or any similar kind. I do not approve that those who are familiar with and share these ideas and opinions to any extent, or the institutions that they work at, should be viewed as connected with my person." This is a common thing that Fetullah Gulen has said repeatedly throughout the years. Now, that said, Gulen's 2008 immigration case here in the United States actually became quite a back and forth between his legal team and the Department of Homeland Security, who was trying to revoke his temporary citizenship and not allow his permanent residency, which his legal team had applied for, based on the fact that, quote, he was an alien of extraordinary ability in the field of education. Now, according to his own legal team, Gulen was, quote, the leader of the Gulen movement, and B, the foundation for hundreds of schools across 3 continents. So who are we to believe in terms of accurately defining Gulen's role as a leader of the movement, Gulen's lawyer, or Gulen himself?